how to change the world. What an exciting topic and a big one. From a metaphysical standpoint, there are two main strategies to change the world. And when we combine these, they form an even more powerful strategy. So the first one is more within, and that is to change perspective. And the second strategy is more without, and that is to change reality. So with this first strategy, when we change perspective, when we change how we see things, how we see the world, it changes the lens through which we are regarding things. And this changes our experience of the world. So this changes our world. This is also a way to change people, situations, and relationships. So with people, for example, when we change how we see them, it changes how we relate to them and how we interact with them. And this often changes how they respond to us. This is a simple technique that most people know of, but few have dived into what is actually happening metaphysically. Because when we change perspective, we are actually tuning ourselves to a different frequency where the whole energy is different. Because the frequency we have, and frequency means emotional state. So the feeling we have is the filter through which we can see our reality. So when we have a high frequency, we can see better things. But not only that, because when we, with people, for example, when we choose to see the best in people, it is as if we are pulling that out of them. When we choose to see the best in people, it is as if we are moving ourselves to a parallel interaction with them, where when we have raised our frequency, we are actually interacting with a higher version of them. So we are co-creating a new space where we, through raising our own frequency, are allowing them to show up in a better way. And it's the same with the world. When we choose to see the good in the world, we get this good filter in front of us, because the feeling we have is the filter through which we can see our reality. I can repeat that over and over again. So when we have this good filter, it's so much easier to see more of the good things in the world, and this changes our experience of the world. So this changes our world. And the second strategy to change actual reality moves even deeper into the complex metaphysical theories that say that we can actually remove ourselves from one world and place ourselves in another by choice. The theory in metaphysics is that there is no time. Every now is a new reality. And that means every now is a new opportunity for change. So we can choose to act as the person we want to be in every moment. We can reinvent ourselves in every moment. This takes focused awareness. I didn't say it was easy, but we can. And the theory in metaphysics is also that we are a soul. And this soul is projecting its consciousness into different lives, many parallel ones at the same time, actually. So this life can be seen almost as a dream that is malleable. So the same way we can practice lucid dreaming, where we steer ourselves in the dream, we can start practicing lucid living, where we are choosing and we are creating our own lives. Because when we choose to regard every now as a new reality, a new opportunity for change, and we choose to act as the person we want to be, we are reinventing ourselves in every moment. These nows are going to be put together to a new timeline that we have much more awareness to navigate ourselves and create our own lives. But here's the catch. Here's the challenging part. We have been so conditioned to think that this reality is rigid. This is the way it is. And our egos, the ones sending out the thoughts, have been so hardwired to think in certain ways. Because we actually think 70,000 thoughts a day. And the main part of these are the same as yesterday. And the more we think the same thought, the deeper the tracks in the brain gets. So it's easier to fall into these brain tracks over and over again. So this creates mental loops, and this can also give us the feeling that life is moving in circles and every day is just the same. And this is also where it's really easy to fall into the trap of victimhood. That life is just happening to me and I have no control over it. This happened and that happened and oh, poor me. Me too sometimes. We're not through the ascension yet. Because this focused awareness to reinvent ourselves in every moment, it takes effort. It takes practice, and we are not going to stay there. We're going to stay there for moments, longer and longer moments, but we are going to go back to these old mental loops. But the more we practice, it's the same as with every kind of training. We get good at what we do. So the more we practice, the longer we can stay there. But when we fall back into these mental loops that are created from our subconscious programming and being sent out as thoughts from the ego, these 70,000 thoughts a day, it can seem very far-fetched that we could actually create our own reality. But we are shifting all the time. Every now is a new reality, but we're doing it mostly unconsciously. We are choosing, but we're choosing unconsciously. We're choosing to let these subconscious programs and the ego almost run our lives. But when we know this, when we know that we always choose in every moment, we can start to choose more consciously and increase our moments that we're there. And there are actually many ways to change the world, to shift reality. One that I described first, to change perspective, so we have another filter which we see our reality through. And the other, to reinvent ourselves in every moment, regard every now as a new opportunity to change. And almost all of my videos are about this. Tools to raise our frequency, because when we raise our frequency, we get a better filter which we see the world through, and we are also moving ourselves to nows that are more in alignment with our true selves. And there's another much more physical step to take in this outer world to change reality, and that is to step out of our comfort zone. Because this comfort zone has been made up by the ego, that its main task is to keep us safe. So it's better to stay at home in the couch. It's better, it's safer not to do anything new, because then we know what will happen, so we don't have to be so prepared. And that is how we stagnate. How we grow is when we do new things, things that are different from who we were before. I think of this one time I was treetop climbing with a group of girls, and a girl was on a level really high up. It was too far out of my comfort zone, so I was on the ground, and she got really scared in the middle. She was between two trees hanging in the air in these two metal lines, harness and helmet and everything, but she got really scared and started sobbing. So I scream up at her, remember, every time you face your fears, you grow as a human. And she looks down at me, takes a deep breath and says, thank you, and moves on with confidence. And afterwards, she was really glad she did it. She got this adrenaline kick she wouldn't have had otherwise. This comfort zone has been made up of these 70,000 thoughts a day that are the same as yesterday, because the same thought leads to the same conclusions, that leads to the same actions, same experiences, I have puppies in the background. Same experiences, same feelings, same thoughts, same decisions, same experiences, same feelings, same thoughts. And we stagnate. But when we do something that is very different, it leads to new experiences, that leads to new feelings, that leads to truly new thoughts, that leads to new decisions, new experiences, new feelings. And the way to do this every day, to step out of our comfort zone, is to take a cold shower. A challenge in the morning makes the rest of the day feel like a piece of cake. But the most important part that this does, taking a cold shower in the morning, is that it trains our nervous system that it's good for us to step out of our comfort zone. It makes us grow, because it's really uncomfortable to step into this cold water, but we know we're going to feel so alive and much more awake after this shower. So we tell ourselves, we tell our nervous system and the ego that it's okay, it's safe, it's actually good, we grow from this. And the way to know that we are out of our comfort zone is when it feels, as the words imply, uncomfortable, and it can also feel nervous. And this is the ego having had time to think about this future event and telling us, no, it's safer to stay at home in the couch. It's safer not to do it. Don't do it. We don't know what's going to happen. But do it anyway, because this is how we grow as humans and as souls. So these two strategies are not separate. They're part of the same process. The first is more within, to change perspective, the way we see things, and thereby change our vibration. And the second is more without, to change how we are, act as the person we want to be in every new reality, in every new now, and step out of our comfort zone. And when we combine these, they form an even more powerful strategy. Because when we do things that are much different from who we were before, we are aligning ourselves with another kind of reality. The whole energy is different. And this is how we change the world. Our world. And that is the world. Because what is the world otherwise? Is that what we see on the news? The news that knows that if they turn it towards the negative, they get more views and more listenings. And they turn it towards the negative for other reasons as well. We had this really interesting test at work with 15 co-workers, and my boss is really aware, and he had heard of this test that they even do on professors, and some professors had the same answers as monkeys. That means random. And it was questions like, how many girls go through education, how much poverty, how much feminism is there in the world, and other kinds of questions like that. And the only one who had high score was the girl who turned off the news 20 years ago. It was the girl who chooses to see the best in the world. And it was the girl who does not choose to put her head in the sand. It's the girl who chooses to do something about the things she can actually do something about. And it's the girl who chooses to care about the close ones, the ones she can actually help. And she got the high score. So finishing this video, I'm just going to add some science for those who likes that. The quantum science has actually seen that electrons can exist in two places at the same time. And there's a really interesting experiment from the quantum science, the double slit experiment, that shows that atoms behave differently whether they are observed or not. And this implies that consciousness actually can be projected. It's so exciting when science is catching up to these metaphysical theories. Thank you so much for watching.